The tarmac shimmered under the desert sun. A U.S. military transport plane, its engines a low hum, taxied to a stop. Inside, a young man with tired eyes but a hopeful smile waited. Travis Timmerman, an American pilgrim, was finally coming home. His journey had been long and arduous, a testament to the power of faith and the resilience of the human spirit. He had walked a path few could imagine, from the bustling streets of Chicago to the desolate silence of a Syrian prison. Now he was back, forever changed by his ordeal. Travis had traded his lawyer's suit for the simple clothes of a traveler. Gone were the trappings of his old life, replaced by something far more profound. He carried with him the weight of his experiences, the lessons learned in solitude and uncertainty. But he also carried a newfound sense of peace, a serenity born of hardship and spiritual awakening. His story was one of courage and conviction, a testament to the enduring power of faith in the face of adversity. Travis Timmerman was a man of words. As a lawyer in Chicago, he had navigated the complexities of family law, his days filled with legal briefs and courtroom arguments. He was a skilled advocate, his mind sharp, his tongue silver. But beneath the veneer of the legal profession, a different kind of yearning stirred within him. He longed for something more, a deeper meaning beyond the confines of his work. Writing offered an escape, a way to explore the hidden corridors of his soul. He poured his thoughts and emotions into a novel, a work of fiction that reflected his own search for purpose. But the satisfaction was fleeting, something was still missing. He felt drawn to a different path, one less traveled, one that led him away from the familiar and into the unknown. That path, he believed, was a pilgrimage, a journey of faith that would test his limits and reveal his true self. His journey began with a simple desire to deepen his connection to his Christian faith. Inspired by the stories of pilgrims past, he felt a pull towards the ancient lands of the Bible, to walk where saints had walked and prophets had preached. He kept his plans secret, telling his family he was going to Hungary. He boarded a plane, his heart filled with a mix of excitement and trepidation. He flew to Prague, then to Beirut, each stop taking him further from the life he knew. Finally, he crossed the border into Syria, a country ravaged by conflict but steeped in history. He was aware of the risks, the danger that lurked in the shadows, but he felt guided by a higher power, a sense of purpose that transcended fear. He traveled light, his backpack holding only the essentials and a worn copy of the Bible. He was a stranger in a strange land, his journey just beginning. The Syrian mountains, with their rugged beauty and ancient ruins, held a strange allure. Travis spent his days wandering through olive groves and ancient villages, seeking solace in prayer and reflection. He fasted, seeking spiritual clarity, but his pilgrimage took an unexpected turn. While picking cherries in an orchard, he was spotted by a border guard. His journey of faith became a test of endurance. Accused of entering the country illegally, Travis was detained. He was taken to a prison, a stark concrete structure that echoed with the silence of captivity. The days blurred into weeks, then months. Fear and uncertainty gnawed at him. But in the solitude of his cell, something unexpected happened. He found solace in his faith. He clung to his Bible, its words offering comfort and guidance. He prayed, not for release, but for strength. He realized that his pilgrimage had taken him not to a physical destination, but to a spiritual one. Section 5. The Kindness of Strangers. The news of the Assad regime's fall sent ripples of hope through the prison. For Travis, it meant the possibility of freedom. He was released along with other detainees, thrust back into a world that seemed both familiar and strange. He wandered through the chaotic streets of Damascus, barefoot and disoriented. But even in this unfamiliar land, he found kindness. A Syrian family, their faces etched with the hardships of war, took him in. They fed him, clothed him, and offered him shelter. Their generosity, extended to a stranger in need, touched him deeply. He couldn't speak their language, but he understood the language of compassion, the universal language of human connection. They treated him like a son, a brother. Their kindness was a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in darkness. Section 6. Freedom's Dawn. Word of an American being held in Syria reached Muaz Mustafa, a Syrian-American activist working tirelessly to help those trapped by the conflict. He immediately contacted U.S. authorities and set out to find Travis. He found him at the Syrian Foreign Ministry, where he had been taken by the family who had sheltered him. Travis was given new clothes, a shower, and running shoes, small comforts that meant the world. The handover was tense. U.S. Special Forces in armored vehicles met Syrian officials on a remote highway in southern Syria. A U.S. fighter jet circled overhead, a reminder of the ongoing conflict. Travis, flanked by soldiers, walked towards the American vehicles. Every step took him closer to home, to freedom. He glanced back at Muaz, a silent thank you to the man who had helped secure his release. The doors closed behind him, and the convoy sped away, leaving the dust and turmoil behind. Section 7. A Mother's Relief. Back in Missouri, Stacy Collins Gardner had spent months living a nightmare. She had no idea where her son was, only that he was gone. The news of his release, of his captivity in Syria, came as a shock. Relief washed over her, followed by an overwhelming desire to see her son, to hold him in her arms. Their reunion at the airport was a moment of pure joy. Tears streamed down Stacy's face as she embraced her son, her heart overflowing with gratitude. Travis, his face etched with the trials he had endured, held her tight, whispering words of comfort. The months of uncertainty melted away in that embrace. He was home, safe, and that was all that mattered. Section 8. The Journey Home. The journey back to America was a blur. Travis underwent medical evaluations, met with debriefers, and fielded questions from journalists, but his thoughts were elsewhere. He longed for quiet, for time to process the enormity of his experience. He wanted to be with his family, to share his story in his own time, in his own way. He returned to Missouri, to the familiar landscapes of his childhood. The rolling hills and quiet towns held a newfound beauty. He spent hours walking in the woods, breathing in the fresh air, feeling the sun on his face. He was surrounded by the love of his family, their presence a balm to his soul. He was home, but he knew he was forever changed. Section 9. A Changed Man. Travis Timmerman's story is one of faith, resilience, and the enduring power of the human spirit. He emerged from captivity not bitter, but grateful. He had stared into the abyss and emerged stronger. His faith deepened, his spirit renewed. He shied away from the spotlight, preferring to live a life of quiet contemplation. He declined interviews, his voice rarely heard in the media frenzy surrounding his release. He had found what he was looking for, not in the pages of a book or the halls of a courtroom, but in the crucible of suffering. His story is a reminder that even in the darkest of places, hope can flourish, and faith can light the way. As for the other Americans still missing in Syria, their plight weighed heavily on his mind. He prayed for their safe return, knowing that somewhere, their families held on to hope, just as his had.